All in. Shall we?
Let's do it. All right.
I'll take that as a yes.
What?
The ring.
The world remains in mourning after the death of Superman. Violence, acts of war, and terrorism are all on the rise.
I had a dream. It was the end of the world.
Invasion.
I think it's something more. Something darker.
We're asking people we don't know to risk their lives.
Strong man is strongest alone. You ever heard that? That's not a saying. That's the opposite of what the saying is. Divided. We are not enough. The world needs Superman. I made him a promise. This is why I brought you together.
Ride ain't over yet.
My man.
Awesome. As a Batsignal, that's your... Oh, sorry. That's your signal. That means we have to go now.
Yeah, that's what that means.
It's so cool.
I don't know which is my good side. Is it this side? Is it this side? I don't know. Kidding. There's nobody behind the camera. I'm actually doing this myself. No one's here. I'm all by myself. Completely alone. I should have done that first. Anyway, so let me start with, I talked about it before in a video. We're doing a giveaway for these, so every 100 subscribers is going to get something random. We've got a couple of these signature Gotham Times newspapers. So all from the Dark Knight viral campaign. So I've got, this one is actually, I just put some spray paint for the Riddler, and it also has, it's glow in the dark, so that's pretty cool. I'll post a picture of what that looks like. But I just definitely wanted to, talk about Venus Comics in DC. So I'm going to be getting to really what this video is about, which is kind of a review of the Justice League trailer. Awesome. So, but I wanted to highlight the fact that I had a discussion about the trailer and kind of inspired the conversation by talking with the owners of Venus Comics in DC. So the comic shop is inside Union Station. It's a really great location on the 3rd floor. It's prime location. It's a really good shop. They got a lot of cool stuff, and the owners there are really great. So shout out to everybody there. Shout out to the Four Horsemen. Shout out to everybody there. And to Crucial Crisis Comics. So check out C3 if you haven't heard of them. So Google all that. It's pretty good stuff, especially if you're supporting local artists. And so one of the great things about Venus Comics is they support local artists and also cancer research. So it's a very, very cool endeavor. It's something I think is very unique. And the shop's going to be having a lot of changes coming soon. I think it's pretty awesome. They're brand new, so if you haven't heard of them, don't feel bad. But the conversation started with that. We were talking about Justice League, and we were talking about some of the theories that we had. So first off, let me talk about the Justice League trailer. So the original, the original things that came out, you had, the San Diego Comic-Con, you had the sneak peek, you had the look. So first off, let me just say I'm totally digging that the relationship between Bruce Wayne and Barry Allen. I really like what Ezra Miller has done. I think like just him having those little quirks, like he's just really cool. I think nothing needs to be said about Wonder Woman because she's amazing. Like that was probably the best part of Batman vs Superman. Her movie was fantastic. The Justice League, she's going to kill it. Like I mean, like let's not even sugarcoat that one. It's really all about Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is holding the unofficially titled DCEU together. So that's great. I think that's fantastic. I'm really excited about seeing them all come together on screen. I think there's also an interesting thing I'll talk about is that there was a deleted scene on I think it was supposed to be the after credit scene for Wonder Woman, which showed Wonder Woman's like her whole crew from World War I. They ended up getting an assignment afterwards to go look for a mother box, and the mother box is playing into the Justice League story because obviously there's a mother box in Themyscira. The mother box is also what creates Cyborg. It's part of his origin, so it's what brings Darkseid and Steppenwolf and the army from Apocalypse onto Earth. So it's pretty interesting to see that, and I'm also curious as to why they cut it specifically, but that'll be fun to see where that goes. I'm also interested in seeing specifically where they go with how like the Cyborg thing, because I mean that's bringing Cyborg from the Teen Titans status and bringing him to Justice League status. I think that's really cool. So I'm really anxious to see what they do with that, especially because he hasn't really been too fleshed out, but obviously he's going to have a really good foothold in the core plot of the story. But let's talk about Aquaman, man. Like, Aquaman's killing it, dude. Like, I love the interpretation. Jason Momoa is killing it. Like, this dude is, like, he really is killing it. Like, when they said Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones was going to be Aquaman, I was like, deal. Yes. I guess the only thing I'm sad about in real life is that James Cameron is not directing the Aquaman movie. But, there's always a sequel, so we'll see what's up. But if anybody's never seen Entourage, that was, like, a huge plot thread. But anyway, I think Aquaman's killing it, dude. Like, and I like him, like how he plays off of Ben Affleck. Like, they did a good job of Ben Affleck doing the like he's older and like disgruntled, but not like super weary. Just kind of like meh. He's like, these guys. It's. I think it's cool. I think what they've done is something really cool. I like. I know Zack Snyder went through tragedy, so I feel bad for what happened. I think that probably affected the way. If you look at the films, if you look at Man of Steel versus Batman vs Superman, I think you can really tell that there was a difference in tone, and I think that had a lot to do with what was happening behind the scenes in his family. Obviously, his daughter committed suicide, and that's why he pulled out of the Justice League, and that's why they brought in Joss Whedon, who directed Avengers and Age of Ultron, to finish it up. He's not getting credit as a director; he's getting credit as a writer, because like there's weird rules about who does what in Hollywood movies, and you can't have co-directors. Even though they have like the Russo brothers, there's weird rules about it. But the point of the matter is, I think what was going on behind the scenes really took its toll on him, and I think that's what affected like how the movies were portrayed. And I don't think that's a hit. I still love both those movies. Man of Steel I thought was awesome. Batman vs Superman, despite its flaws, I really liked it, and the extended cut's even better because it sheds light on those missing details. That it was a darker film, but I think that makes sense. Not for the sake of being a grizzled film or being the grim storyline. I think it just made sense for where they're going. So have the dark and go to the light rather than start off happy-go-lucky, even though that's not a hit on Marvel at all. I love the Marvel films. They're different films. That's a good thing. That is not a bad thing. Like, let them be what they are. I think it's great that we have these things in the movie theaters coming out all the time anyway. Like, years ago, this would have never happened. So I'm just glad we have it. But more importantly, I think these last trailers have really shed some light on how the film can look. And even though the styles are different, I think Zack Snyder's style, but with Joss Whedon's flair and his humor and his dialogue and his ability to, not necessarily to be so quippy, because that is a good part, but, you don't want to do too much. You want to have a nice balance. I think bringing in Joss is going to do a good job. I don't think at all that this movie is going to tank. I think it's going to do really well. And I think they did a really good job putting it in that time of the year, putting it in November. It's coming out soon. So another question is, who's going to watch that? Or who's going to see Justice League or Punisher first? Because they both go live the same day. So movie comes out 17th, Punisher goes. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm going to be conflicted about that. More than likely, I'll probably see Batman or Justice League the day before, then come home and try to, at least catch the first episode of Punisher. But anyway, back to the topic at hand, which is the Justice League trailer that just dropped. So the other trailers were good. The teasers were good. The trailers were good. This was by far the best like way it could have gone about. Like, I love the music selections. Like a lot of people were saying, you know, what's up with the music? I like the music. I think that it was a good choice, especially for how it feels like it's a little bit in that grim but coming to the light. I think they really did a good job this time with not showing the villains. A lot of people are like really worried that maybe Steppenwolf isn't going to really be a character and he's just going to be, you know, this threat, and that might not work. You know, we've seen that in Justice League animated cartoons, like in the animated Justice League where they came together, where they fought Darkseid. Darkseid was just he was mindless enemy. It didn't make any sense. It was good for the characters because you get to, you know, get the character relationships, but it's also an animated film, and so there really is no core development. If you watch Avengers, the main development character is Loki. Like, the other characters have some spots here and there, but the reality is Loki has a almost fully fleshed out arc in Avengers, and that's important because he's still to this day their best villain, hands down. But, you know, Winter Soldier comes in and you can have some conversation about anti-hero versus, you know, true villain, but the reality is Loki is still top tier villain, and he wasn't technically the person in charge in Avengers. So we'll get into that because I definitely need to talk about Thor Ragnarok and where I think Loki's going to be going and the part that I think he's going to play in Avengers Infinity War. So we'll get into those theories in a separate video, but I wanted to talk about this specifically because I think the same way with, like, they held off with showing Steppenwolf too much, and they held off that you're not seeing Darkseid. Some people have said Darkseid's going to be in it. Some people said Lex Luthor got cut. You know, the studio might actually, and Whedon might actually be using this misinformation or these things to actually, for their benefit, to keep the information on what's actually happening in the film out of everybody's hands, because that worked negatively for Batman vs. Superman. Seeing Wonder Woman and seeing Doomsday, more so Doomsday, kind of pulled the curtain on. You didn't really feel like the Batman vs. Superman fight was really threatening at all because you knew they were going to team up against Doomsday. Whereas you could have still shown Wonder Woman, you really wouldn't have known what part she played. And it didn't matter that I saw her. When she showed up, it was still the best part of the damn movie. So that being said, I really think, though, that Superman's probably going to be the villain of the movie, really. Steppenwolf's probably going to resurrect Superman, and Superman will be the villain, because it makes more sense that the Justice League have to come together against a threat as big as Superman. And it was kind of hinted at in Batman's dream. But I think that ultimately he'll, you know, turn around, and it'll be one of those things where he won't be the villain throughout the whole movie, just at least a major fight. And I think that that will be a major plot point of the film. But I kind of thought that also too, because the red sky, red and black, I don't know why, but like, I just think thematically that makes a lot of sense. Also, you haven't seen any Superman in the promotional materials except for this recent trailer, but they showed him in a dream sequence. So I think the whole black suited Superman, probably with the long hair, is probably going to be villainous and kind of playing on the whole. In the comics, Darkseid turned Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, into his slave for a little while and had her fought Superman. They might, you know, they've been twisting some of the different storylines and changed certain things, and I think that kind of makes a little bit of sense for this, considering there's no Supergirl in these films. So I think that'd be cool. I think it's going to be done the right way, and I think it makes sense because Superman already has character development. So you've already got somebody that's been going across these multiple films, and it's kind of, really, this is almost like a Superman trilogy. And in the third film, they always play with, you know, sometimes the villain going dark. Spider-Man 3, you know, The Dark Knight Rises, you know, the either walking away or changing your perspective on what you've been doing for a long time. So I think that's a really cool way to look about it. And I'll talk about those different kinds of theories and stuff like that later in different videos, because I got a lot of stuff to say, unfortunately. I have a lot to say. And there's not enough time to say it. But if you're here watching, and you're still watching, then you clearly want to hear it. Or you have nothing better to do. So either watch this, watch the video, or just listen to it in your car without watching the video and the sound. Just, you know, relax, take it off, and just hear what I have to say. And maybe you don't like what I have to say and you want to argue about it, get in the comments, say something. So get in the comment section and tell me that you agree with me, you don't disagree, or you agree with me, you disagree with me, or you don't even care, delete your channel, whatever you got to say. Say it down there, hit all those little buttons that you're supposed to hit, which is the subscribe button, the little thumbs up button, the little bell button, hit all that crap, and if you don't know, now you know. Thanks for tuning in.